Hello guys, so Dele Farotimi was actually on live separately today. So I heard the video. It was so blessing that this man took time to explain Nigeria and its dark shadow. You'll be shocked to hear what you have to say about Seyii, Tinubu and others, even put to be many things. Just take a listen to that video. You enjoy it. It's a long video, but you enjoy the video. Trust me, it's from a wise man. Just take a listen for yourself, and I'll be with you guys in a minute.
This morning, I'd like us to talk about Nigeria and its many shadows. Heard me? Yeah. Nigeria and its many shadows. You know, when you stand in any space where there is light, you're bound to have shadows. And shadows are reflective of the fact that there is light in the space. There is a song by Fela called Just Like That. In one of the many questions and answer back and forth, audience feedback flow, like the chorus part, he started asking some questions. He said, our leaders, them like us or them like themselves? Are they good leaders or shadow criminals? You know, I grew up on Fela's music, and every time I'd come across that refrain, shadow criminals, it had constantly left me thinking, and this is my pattern. For years, I might be pondering a particular word or a particular phrase, peeling the different layers of revelation that you'd find when you consider things in a deeper fashion. If he was calling them shadow criminals, I began to wonder. And then, you know, by the time you become a Pentecostal Christian, you find the more gifted orators who break down concepts for you. So one of the pastors under whose ministration had sat in the past used to talk about the shadows of Christ, and he would use biblical figures like Joseph, and I think at some point Moses, as examples of these shadows. And then the more I looked at our situation in Nigeria, where we have a judiciary that does not give justice, I realize that we have a shadow judiciary. I look at our schools. They don't deliver any knowledge of value, or hardly deliver any knowledge of value these days. And I realize that we have shadow learning, shadow education. Our religion does not teach morals. We have shadow religions. The same Christianity that transformed South Korea, because it's easy to talk about the laws of our original spirituality as one of the reasons why we have become as vagabonds and unable to understand our connection to the land of our birth, regardless of the name by which it is called, or to be able to recognize the humanity of our neighbor just in understanding that because they spoke a different language does not render them any less human than we are. We've become shadow humans. In Yoruba language, the word police means Olopa. Olopa means the person who is holding the king's staff, the insignia of the king's authority, and the sight of whom you equate with the presence of the king. So his word literally is the king's word. But the Olopa in my own country, the police in my own country, is not different from the criminal in most cases. He is either endorsing criminality or is part and parcel of the criminal action, or is shielding the criminal, or is providing cover for the criminal. We have a shadow democracy where we have political parties, but they have no ideology. We have elections, but our votes do not count. Shadow democracy. We have laws, yeah. We have laws. I think one of them is the Section 305 that was used in Rivers. We have laws. I assure you we have laws. Even the Attorney General pronounced the law. It just does not appear to flow from the lie that we call, oh yeah, we have a constitution. So even our constitution is a shadow constitution. Oh, I forget. we are a capitalist, a social, we are a shadow society. Oh, we have banks. Oh, yeah, and in most other parts of the world, the banks buy money when they take your deposit and they sell it when they grant loans. So banks exist everywhere else in the world to buy and sell money. Okay. But Nigerian banks do not appear to sell money to anybody who needs money. So we have a shadow, but they declare huge profit all the time. Oh, yes, I forget. They are doing everything but banking, but they are declaring huge profit. So we have a shadow banking industry. Okay. So if everything endures in shadows, what is the substance of our country? If our rulers are shadow criminals, not my invention, that was Fela, and that was at least, I think that was during the Second Republic, so that was at least like 40 years ago. If they were shadow criminals 40 years ago, well, we had a shadow democracy at that time as well. So shadow, everything is still shadowing everything. So we have a shadow democracy with shadow criminals or real criminals running the democracy. Because I understand that when you say that a place is governed by law, you're saying that there are set rules by which the society is governed. But this one, the Attorney General said the law is what? Okay, so the law is what Tinubu says the law is. Remember that thing that we were talking about, l'état c'est moi, I am the state. A lot of people will tell you that it was Napoleon that said that. It wasn't Napoleon, don't worry. What Napoleon said was that all authority is in the throne. And what is the throne? If all authority is on the throne, who is the throne? Do you understand? This wooden frame covered with velvet, I am the throne. That was Napoleon's declaration, and I would be surprised if that wasn't what Fagbemi was telling us as well. L'état c'est moi. So we have a shadow presidency, but an imperial dictatorship. Oh, by the way, he did tell the others to note that their own future might pass through rivers. And it wouldn't surprise me if we end up with the rivalization of Oshun as well. So the question I'm now asking us is this. If we have no substance to pass on to our children, if we have a shadow state, because we can't call this a real country, even if it's going to be an authoritarian society, there must still be respect for whatever rule. Okay, let's try this. In classic Nigerian education, they will teach you that China is a dictatorship. But China still gets governed by law. Even the chairman of the Communist Party still observes the laws. Even though he might, as Napoleon, speak to the fact that he is the one sat in the throne and he is the throne, the chairman of the Communist Party, I'm not sure he would unilaterally award contracts to a company in which his son has interest that is known to all, owned by his friend. That does not happen in a state. A state is governed by rules, by norms. But we have entered a phase where the law is what Tinubu says it is. And when this is happening, you would imagine that a normal society, not a shadow one, a normal society We would have societal guardrails. You know, guardrails like civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, professional bodies. But where are these voices? The former heads of state, oh yes. Good luck, Ebele Jonathan. I don't know what it is that has come over that man in recent times, but did you hear what he had to say about Rivers? That is the first time I have heard that man speak publicly in a manner that demands respect. Painful thing to say is, those who had the capacity to have laid better examples, on the back of which they may have stood and spoken truth in this season. But again, I guess the dean of past presidents decided that Jonathan is the only one with the credibility to deliver the rebuke that they sought to deliver. But if only when they had the opportunity, they had left enduring legacies that would have assured that what Bulaba is doing today would be viewed as a perversion that it is. But what has happened? Because of what you had done during your presidencies, you have normalized the madness. And what has happened today is that a man that is by far more suited to impunity than any one of you is in power today. The third time that Obasanjo dreamt of, this one will get third, fourth, fifth, and God knows how many, unless the people unite and determine the fate of this country. So, no societal gatherings. We have shadow religions, shadow civil organizations, shadow human rights activists, shadow pro-democracy activists, shadow everything, shadows, shadow citizens. By the time when we were in the university, something like this will happen. The universities will be up in arms. From students to university, the entire ecosystem, the larger society itself would have been outraged. But what has happened to us? We've become a shadow society, normative collapse. Nothing outrages us anymore. And those who are outraged, we are the shadows. We make noise. Everything shadow. Where is our press? These days, the only voices you hear, the refiles of this world. When Dr. Ruben Abati was busy vibrating about the violation of the Constitution, I was looking at him and I was asking myself, what about all the other violations that you had either helped to explain or ignored? Everything is graduated. Evil pushes bit by bit, and when you continue to mollycoddle, explain, tolerate, adjust for evil, eventually it overpowers and you don't. You know, I spoke about it the other time. When you sit too close or you live too close to the public toilet or to the refuse dump, you stop smelling the damn thing after a point. And this is what has happened to us. We tolerated evil, explained evil for so long. It has overtaken us. We've become a shadow society. Nothing outrages us any longer. And the worst atrocities are being pushed through every day. A young lady spoke in a shadow society. Those who should be speaking in reinforcement of our rights, they were the ones who were busy asking her to keep quiet. Does Lagos not smell? If your noses haven't become acculturated to the madness that we live with, would you not know? What did she say that is not true? But that is the shadow society that we have become. Shadow police. And have you guys noticed? You'll be at the bus stop, at the traffic light, and right there in front of the policemen, LASMA, everybody, LASMA, lawman, Lima, this one, that one, you see buses. They'll shout right in front of you and they'll go, meanwhile you, tax-paying citizen, you wouldn't dare move. The guy has purchased a bit of impunity from the shadow police, and then in the shadow society you are living in, the shadow laws no longer apply to him. Have you thought about that? In a shadow democracy, an Akpabio accused of sexual predation is still sitting in judgment against his accuser. That can only happen in a shadow. But if it wasn't a shadow democracy, how would Akpabio have gotten into that Senate in the first place? So while some of us were busy campaigning, running up and down the place, some people had determined that Akpabio must be in the Senate so that he can be the Senate president, so that all kind of anomalies, all kind of, Lord have mercy, evil would be clapped for. They are singing on your mandate, we shall stand. What shadow democracy? In a true democracy, the practitioners and administrators would understand That everything functions on predictable order. And this is why I've often argued that you cannot call this country a jungle. A jungle functions on predictable order. Even when there is dysfunction in nature, it is still functional. You might have droughts, but the drought would eventually turn around and become part and parcel of the tapestry of nature. But in our own country, nothing is exactly as it should be. Everything are shadows. How can you plant shadows and reap institutions? Shadows. You are appointing justices. The appointive process has assured that the person who is appointing is the one who has the discretion to determine. Your Judicial Service Commission, I believe, they are appointees of your CJ. How do they become checks on his powers? He appoints whoever he cares and he appoints whoever is instructed. So you find children of judges appointed not even on merit in most cases. How can you have a judicial system when you have a shadow appointing system? How? You are in a Senate that votes billions all the time, but they cannot have an electronic voting system. What kind of voting system? Okay, how do we have a voting system when even our own votes, the ones who are supposed to have sent the ones that we didn't vote to the Senate, our votes do not count. So why should the vote of those who are there? But the rules say, see, I really don't have much to say to you this week. But I need us all to understand the seriousness of our situation. We have become a shadow society. No substance. When they were going to do the Natasha one, his was sufficient. We're talking about the constitutional requirements for two-thirds. You don't bother to check whether you have quorum, you don't bother, and then you are doing, and all of us, look, there is enough about Nigeria to make one lament from morning till night, and you will not find a repetition for the lamentation. But it is very critical. See, shadow country. NEPA just struck, and I'm in Bandi, and NEPA just struck. Let me just put it this way. All they have done is to quicken my exit. There wasn't much left to say to you anyway, beyond the fact that there is a critical need for each and every one of you to understand that you are either going to have to demand electoral reforms, which may not even be of any use again in this situation, or begin to get ready to occupy the streets in one way or the other. I swear to God, there is no way we can vote our way out of this one based on the existing system. I wish I can give you some hope this morning, but the only hope I can give you exists within you, is not extraneous to you. If we don't do something substantial, our children will inherit this mess. I grew up shouting, up NEPA. If my children have had to live in a space where they would have to shout up NEPA, they too will be shouting up NEPA. Fact of the matter is, nothing has changed. The only thing that has become substantial is evil. And if we don't do something about it, that evil will overtake us. The declaration you heard, disguised as Section 305, is one and only one thing. L'État, c'est moi. Tinubu is the law. And yes, before I take off, let me just say this. All the hegemons who gathered together to bring Tinubu to power, who subverted the law and the will of the people, you will all regret what you did. He has room for only one, himself and his own. El-Rufai learned a little too late in the day. Others will learn perhaps sometime at greater cost than they ever envisaged. It's been a pleasure being with you today. I hope I'll see you again next Sunday. And let's be clear, because when purpose is unknown, abuse becomes inevitable. I do not enjoy bellyaching. I have construed my duty as being to wake you up. Wake you up to the fact that you have to do something. What you're led to do is entirely up to you. I might offer a path. You may not like my path, listen to others as well, but find a path in the clear understanding that something has to change or all will be lost very quickly. We just tumbled into a dictatorship. Enjoy the rest of your week. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Guys, you've heard that wonderful speech from Dele Farotimi. Like I said, this man is actually a man of wisdom. Like, he's among those I respect so much in this country, because he does not just come out and just talk. He comes out to talk something that makes sense. And even when he wrote that book about about Afe Babalola, that book is in Nigeria and is judiciary injustice or something, corrupt system. That man just exposed everything about our judiciary, how corrupt our judiciary is. And there's no doubt our judiciary is so corrupt, and this man came out to expose every single one bit of it. Like I said, I respect Dele Farotimi so much. This speech he made was actually an awesome speech about Nigeria. Forgetting that it's long, but at least he took time to explain everything. That Nigeria is now a dictatorship where nobody have their right to express themselves again. You do that, they arrest you. And then again, I saw a tweet where Tinubu, through his spokesman by Ononuga Bayo, came out and was threatening people that he should watch what he say, that he should start running his government down, that there is still democracy in Nigeria because people can speak freely. So how many people have you arrested that spoke freely? And you are saying that you are saying democratic country. In democratic country, somebody have the freedom of speech. I can come out and speak against the government that's not doing well, but in Nigeria, it's not like that. They will come and arrest you or they will threaten you. Same way they did to the NYSC lady, where that came out and she was threatened. But thank God that at least her cry was not a waste, because I think the government have implemented that allowance to 77,000. That if it's true, but I overheard that they are not paying a copper 77,000 naira because the lady cried out. So we are now in a country of dictatorship where the government dictates what we do, no longer what we want to do. It's what they don't tell us what to do. By the way, Fubara, I'm putting somebody there that was not elected. Just add your views in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned, guys.